Peace, I'm Jrahdi. I'm from PG County, Maryland, up in Marlboro to be exact. And my spirit animal is a gold wolf. I made that up.
I was gonna say, what?
Yeah.
Where did that come
from? The
from?
golden wolf howl, the poem I wrote for this time to be here right now. I was thinking about just the brand Gold Soul 4L that I represent, and also kind of like my personality. I was listening to a video on YouTube that said intelligent people like to be alone. And I was like, you know what, I do like to be alone, but I always knew that, but didn't really think, I always thought it was something different or something weird or something like, well, I always like being alone, but then I looked at it some more, and it said that, and I said, look, man, lone wolf, you're doing this thing but Gold Soul, so the Gold Wolf.
What is Gold Soul Forever?
Gold Soul Forever is a lifestyle, Gold Soul for life, and really it means we place high premium on having character and value, being a stand-up man first and foremost, but also being a dope MC or a dope artist in whatever field that you represent. So Gold Soul Foil is a collective, and it's me and my good men, and we speak to a lot of different avenues when it comes to art, from painting, also to photography, also to writing and spoken word.
What do you feel like being a stand-up man means?
Being a stand-up man, first and foremost, is knowing yourself, knowing who you are and being secure in who you are, being able to stand up for yourself when it's time to, but also knowing when to be humble. So it's kind of like you have integrity. It's someone that has integrity, someone that's authentic, and someone that isn't afraid to do what's right in a time of need.
What are some of the right things to do? Like, what does that look like?
So it's really just taking care of your family, making sure that you're not getting caught up in lazy and bad habits and practices, making sure that you're also developing your mind and constant elevation. Those few things start off.
How do you develop your mind?
I read. I try to read a lot every day. I meditate, try to keep my mind focused and centered, so it's not just a bunch of thoughts running around. I feel like I'm getting the hang of my own brain, right? Getting the hang of my own thoughts and really trying to find that middle point to where you can really just lock in. I guess I'm trying to find my Mamba mentality, my true Mamba form, you know, so that's how I get in.
Do you read more than you write?
Yes. Yes. I read more than I write. I read a lot more than I write. I read everything. And I think about everything. So, like I said, I'm getting used to my brain now. Prefrontal cortex is developing. They say you get a certain age and all that good stuff. So, I'm really getting the hang of this stuff. I read a whole lot. I try to get an hour in a day at minimum. But all quarantine, you know, find yourself reading.
What are some of the other things you found yourself doing now that we're stuck?
A lot of push-ups. A lot of push-ups, a lot of squats. Taking care of a lot of business outside of just being work from home. I planned a few extracurricular activities, I guess you can say. We did a protest on this past Sunday, and also on June 20th, we're having a cookout, Juneteenth Father's Day celebration. So I've been doing a lot of planning, trying to be productive and put some action to the ground.
How does that make you feel, like planning for protesting versus planning for being in school? Because I know you're an educator, so I'm just throwing that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Hopefully nobody sees this is my job, but I was doing that when I was at work. And I wasn't really, take away from my performance at work, honestly, because, you know, that's when the album came out in January. I had my first album come out in January, and I was planning for a party and planning for a lot of different things and recording in the studio and getting so locked in, getting to the business side of the music industry and trying to find out what I need to know to record better and to sound better and to make better music. And it took a lot of my time on weekends and even after school, so I found myself sometimes having to double up on how I wanted to make assignments so I can just catch up with what I was doing outside of school.
So now that you're not doing the work in the school and putting the work into protesting and music and art, what do you feel like you're getting out of the time now?
A lot of family time, some good quality time. Me and my fiance really been getting it in. We had a good discussion on live yesterday for the first time, and people were saying we should get our own, you know, show or something like that on live, do something like that. But it was a good conversation with her. But just being with her for this past time, with the same person hasn't been a problem at all. It's been probably the best experience in my life. Yeah, so I'm also making sure I'm getting my time in with my son, so trying to get a relationship with, you know, my son's mother to a place where it needs to be so that we can make sure that goes more harmoniously.
Yeah, and like in spending the time home with your son and getting time with your son's mother and with your fiance, how do you take those lessons in making you a better man? It's crazy.
I was thinking about down the way with it today. I was just thinking about how I'm trying to change my whole energy towards things, starting with the mind, just certain expectations and assumptions, kind of removing them so that it wouldn't be any unnecessary baggage. And because, like I said, it's kind of funny being in between two spots right now because it's still some residual tension. So trying to break that and trying to build that to be more peaceful, and it's been working on both sides. So I can say that taking the time to really get to know myself and taking time to really develop and adapt quickly has been helping a lot.
Yeah, and I feel that like in the getting to know yourself and the taking all of your lessons out into your interactions with people, what do you feel like your hardship is in the change? Like going from inside yourself to now you are interacting.
Facing it, right? You're like, you feel it, you're like, you know you was wrong, bro. You're like, I know I'm wrong, but I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta shake it off. You really gotta like get past that. There's a principle of rhythm. It's kind of like a pendulum swinging. So you know if it swings left, it's gonna swing right. So just getting out of that emotional state and trying to be more logical, but still maintain a certain warm current when dealing with certain things keeps me solid.
So not necessarily leaning more to logic and less to your emotion, but putting yourself in the space to understand.
Yeah, understanding is the best part. So really I was thinking about this morning too, a wise man understands and listens twice more than he speaks. So, people say you want to be understood or understand first of all. You want to understand before you seek to be understood. But I thought of something similar or even more, like you want to listen twice before you even speak once. So, understanding is the best part. That helps me out. Understanding is the best part. And that's the hardest part because you got to get through the experience to get to understand it.
Yeah, you definitely have to go through it before you can say, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. How do those things translate into your art?
I feel like I've always been a knowledge poet. I try to stay away from certain stereotypical lanes, so I would never consider myself to be just one thing, but I always say I'm a knowledge poet, so whatever topic I'm touching on, I try to bring it some kind of stance to make people think about it more introspectively or even objectively, depending on how I'm going with it. But I try to put myself as well as a student's role while I'm doing this, so it's kind of like I'm giving you the perspective from somebody who also was studying it, not just trying to teach to you.
Like, so you're speaking from I am also learning this lesson.
Yeah. I never want to come off as if I know it all.
That's beautiful. Where does that humility come from?
Just seeing how people react, man. I pay attention to responses, body language, interpersonal reactions, interactions, stuff like that. I try to watch that. My dad said learn from other mistakes growing up, and now that I'm older, I'm seeing how real that statement really is. So I try to take it a little more literally.
What do you feel is a hardship? Because I like calling them hardships. But what do you feel is a hardship in being humble as a poet, or being I don't know it all, but I do want to know this thing?
As far as being humble, it's kind of like opposite of rap. There's really no prize to obtain for being the best poet. There's really no prize you can attain. Like poetry is kind of like a free spirit in a sense. Rap is more concentrated where you can be the best, you can be this, you can have the most awards. But in poetry, we don't really, there's poetry slams, stuff like that. But just overall poetry, I don't really see it as being like a real, as competitive as hip hop is, because it's really like the message is what's important with the poetry. Now, you can twist it and put it in different suits, but it's still water. When it comes to the hardships and trying to manage that, and you were saying through poetry or just as a poet? As a poet, I try to use these experiences so that I can write about them, because writing about it is my favorite part when I can think about it and finally get it out on paper. So it's really the journey that I fell in love with because I'm a poet.
And I was going to ask, too, do you consider yourself more of a poet than a spoken word artist?
Yeah, because I also make music and I also write books, so it's kind of like I don't want to be locked in just to the vocal aspect, because I can put on paper as well and then put in the booth.
I was gonna say, because you've got books and CDs out. Where can we find your stuff, and what got you to the published part of everything? Yeah,
so the published part came first. You can find me at Jrahdi, Jrahdi. My books are on blurb.com. That's blurb.com. The first book is Sophia, a collection of poems I wrote in 2015. The next is Solomon. It's a short story. I wrote that in 2018. My album and mixtapes. I have some album new release. That's on iTunes, Spotify, all streaming platforms. Same name, Jrahdi, Jrahdi. And I have some following EPs coming to that. I'm working on an album coming out in October, and I have another short EP coming out the 21st.
Of June?
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on. Wait.
Actually, Wait, today's the 12th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tonight. A mixtape tonight, yeah. I forgot about, I was planning for everything. I forgot to upload the mixtape. So it's gonna be on Bandcamp though. It's gonna be different than streaming. I want to get the money this time.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. What got you to turning your poetry into music?
Frustration, man. It was really just trying to be more creative with it. I felt like being a poet and hitting the poetry scene. I was getting at some point I was getting annoyed with being a poet because I felt like it was just one dimensional. It was kind of like two lanes you can go. Slam or open mics and continue this lane to be successful, and I didn't want to do either one of those solely. I wanted to like be able to jump out and do what I want to do, same in different areas. So when it came to music, I was always doing like SoundCloud stuff when I got out of college, but I wanted to make it more serious. And, I kind of felt like I can do more with it when I had one song that did pretty well, and I was like, man, I got more than that, and I kept playing songs with people, and a lot of people were like, yo, these joints tight, and I started playing with different kinds of people. I had the hood dude saying it's tight, had the city girl saying it's tight, had the church dude saying it's tight, had the Muslim brother saying it was tight. It was like my mother said it was tight, and that's when I knew. I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna keep making music for a little while. Yeah.
If you could drop one gem for poets who want to turn their poems into songs, what would you tell them?
Don't do too much. Really, you don't gotta do too much. If you think about it, you want to be sure you get the point across, and that depending on what kind of song you make, people can remember it. So a lot of times, I find myself, my poetry and my music writing interweaving because the melody and the sound and the cadence it all resonates when it comes to music. So I would say don't try to do too much, man. Keep it simple, but also at the same time, make sure that you get the message across in a creative and mind attention attracting way.
And now I want to thank you for coming out today and for agreeing to be here. Like, I truly appreciate it. Like,
appreciate the opportunity.
Man, I'm a fan. You know that. And you know that at the
it's
end.
It's mutual, you know what I'm saying? We here. You know?
Like, oh my God, like all the way here.
Peace, my name is Jrahdi, and this is Elevated.